Yo, what's shaking, everybody? It's House Divided on Orange Bloods Live on the eve of Texas and Ohio State and a little thing they call the college football playoff semifinals. We've got a game today, Penn State, Notre Dame. It is on. This is potentially the best 5-day weekend of football, Chad, that a human being could possibly have. Semifinal, wild card. This is what football fans live for. So like, comment, subscribe to the page, do all of those things. Jump into the chat, the Specs chat, super chat it up, send us message. We got Brian Jones later on in the show. But as you could guess, a lot of conversation about Texas, Ohio State. Anwar Richardson with a War Room report over on orangebloods.com earlier last night, with just a stream of nuggets and information and stuff for us to kind of chew on as we sit here, Chad. 31 hours away.
31 hours away.
Just in case anybody was wondering.
Catch, I'm assuming you've seen the Christmas Story with Ralphie and the gun and the whole thing?
Of course. Only like 700 times.
The way his dad felt about turkey is the way my dad feels about these next few weekends of football. Like when I was little, my dad would get so excited when these weekends were coming up, and over our lives, they've increased a little bit. It was a little bit of wild card. Now it's a little more wild card. And then that division week comes on, and he and I are talking the other day, and I'm like, Dad, you realize it's 5 straight days, right? You realize it's 5 straight days of legit, it means everything playoff football. And he was just, I could feel him smiling through the phone. He's so excited. He's getting the list of snacks together that he wants to have. And he and my mom are just going to watch football all day. He's pumped. And the excitement level just keeps going. I watched you guys on the Prize Pick show today and got more pumped about it. And if you're a Texas fan, an Ohio State fan, or you just love college football, like, how do you not love this? Specifically Friday night, but how do you not love the next 5 days? It's incredible.
Well, in a vacuum, you look at it and you go, playing these games on Thursday and Friday is abnormal. Like football on Friday is not abnormal. It's like what we grew up on, high school football. But you kind of frame your mind that Friday is a one kind of day and Saturday is another kind of day and Sunday's its own kind of day. And then you have Monday night, right? But now, and I don't think I purely appreciated what we were about to get until the NFL released the schedule over the weekend. And it was whoa, wait a minute.
and then it made sense as to why Thursday and Friday made sense, didn't it?
Yes.
College football kind of ducked out of the way and said, Roger, do what you do. And then it was like, boom.
But it's not even like they're ducking out of the way. That's the beauty of this. Because that's how I think I thought of it. It was like, oh my God, it's Thursday and Friday crap. Like all things being equal, I think I would prefer something else. And all week long it's almost like this is our version of our kids getting out of school for 2 weeks. We're getting five straight. That's almost a full week. That's almost a full week where it's like, what are you doing Thursday night? Playoff game. Friday night. Playoff game. Saturday, whole bunch of playoff games. Sunday, the same. You know what? On Monday, let's all just like smoke some weed, get high, relax, and watch the last playoff game. I mean, I can't wait. It is the anticipation. This is the most. We've only had a week to get ready for this game. But this is finally the week that college football playoffs feel like the NFL playoffs. Because it feels like, well, when it all started and there were 12, we pointed to the semifinal round and said, well, Texas wins these next 2 games, which it should. God, that game that looms in a semifinal could be the de facto national championship game, even if we don't call it that. And that's what you get in the NFL. You look at the brackets and then you go, ooh.
Right.
Brady and Manning in the semis? Like you figure out where the matchups are. And like, this is where we are in college football. And I think honestly, college football couldn't have asked for better games in its own way. You could give me Georgia and somebody else, but there actually is something also about Penn State and Notre Dame tonight that I find absolutely fascinating because one of two, the James Franklin experience, is he about to be in a national championship game? And
No,
is Freeman about to be a megastar?
that's a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would flip Penn State for what I would have hoped would have been a better Georgia or a better Alabama. But you're right. The history you get.
Penn State, though, gives us a storyline that's unique from everybody else because it's a chance for Penn State to emerge as a different Penn State. And if you're Georgia, it's the next in the line of what their accomplishments. Penn State's everybody in the semifinals except for Ohio State is on the precipice. And even Ohio State, it's been long enough that they probably feel like, whoa, don't treat us like we've won recently. This will matter a lot. Right. We are in a Final Four where the winner redefines who they are. The program becomes, from a status symbol, something that only Ohio State has been. Ohio State's been one of the big boys, even if they haven't won a championship in a decade, but they stay at the top of the marquee. But these other second-tier marquee programs that I think you just need to add a little bit of kerosene, like Notre Dame winning the national championship.
Oh, it would be, it'd be otherworldly. 3 of the 4 would be otherworldly. Penn State would be a little less than that, but there's so much on the line. And it's because, and you just laid it out, but I'll give Anwar credit on the Prize Pick show for saying something. It's so simple, but sometimes the simplest things are the thing to say. The fact that we have recent games in college football makes it so much better. You and I both knew it would be. All the wackadoos said it wouldn't, but we were right. And what happens is that build up. Imagine if Vince and that team played Leinart and that team, but both of them had to actually earn it. What if they actually had to play a game that got them to the game that got them to that game? The Super Bowl is not the Super Bowl because of halftime. It's the Super Bowl because it's the damn Super Bowl, and you have to earn your way there. You can get hot late. You can stay hot from early, but you got to win games when it matters, and college football's never had it.
And that's why we respect the NFL. It's like, if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers win as the 6th seed, it's like, well, they earned it. They went through everybody.
And for my whole life, all these college football fans, I prefer the pageantry, Chad. Give me the Rose Parade. And I'll say, y'all do whatever you need. The NFL is better until there's a real system in college. Now we actually have a discussion because it's real. Penn State, Notre Dame for a spot in the title game, followed by Ohio State, Texas for a spot in the title game. Come on, man.
And we're gonna do this every year. And now what we know, Chad, we're gonna get this. We gotta name this 5-day stretch. Because this is the future. We're gonna have this now moving forward. Now we know.
Football-gasm.
When we get to May and we're in the middle of the off season, I am going to look at this 5-day stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Like a military person who's stationed overseas looks at a picture of their wife.
The way that he or she looks at a 5-day leave, right? The 5-day leave, right? Okay, how about football-gasm? I'll just start that with that idea.
It's not terrible. It's kind of catchy.
Do we need
I would wear that T-shirt.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's going to stick.
Do we need to have
Here's what we got to do. You have to ask your old man if football-gasm works.
Yeah, see, for him, it might be a little out of the range. That might be a little nasty for the range, because maybe we need to find something that everybody can fully embrace. But yeah, we'll have to work on it. We'll workshop it. But
we're going to workshop what we're going to call this. But I'm telling you, and people who romanticize the bowl season, I would not care if this were the Fiesta Bowl or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you would.
And Notre Dame was playing Penn State. I would watch, but I would not care.
Yeah, certain games. The beauty of a real playoff system is that there are games in the bowl system that mattered. Like yesterday, we talked about the situation. Here's how it used to work, kids. Texas played a bowl game way back in the day that they ended up losing, and everybody can say, well, that cost them the national title. But guess what? If a certain team had beaten another team that night, it wouldn't have mattered at all.
History would never have even remembered it.
It would have just been a win or a loss, and Texas fans wouldn't have to worry about what they worry about now. Because if Miami had beaten Nebraska, right? Or the other way around.
Nebraska had the Mike Rozier Nebraska team, had they beaten, if they complete the 2-point conversion.
That's right. It was a 2-point conversion play. If Nebraska completes a 2-point conversion, then they're the national champs, and Texas has no say. They could have beaten Georgia 50-7. But if Nebraska had converted a 2-point conversion, they'd have just been the champs.
Well, that's what I've been saying like all week. Like, this is the number of times Texas has played in a national championship game. Because that was us discussing this, right?
Right.
I think, or was I on a different show arguing about whether or not we include 83 or not?
That was us. Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday because I get your argument, because if you don't know it for sure at the start of the game, it does make it different.
Well, because I was 7 years old when I was 6, because I hadn't turned 7 yet. This would have been I was 7. This would have been January 1st, 1984. I remember that day at 7, crazy as it is, incredibly vividly. And Mike Rozier was like one of my first favorite. He probably was my first favorite college football player.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game. My God, what a game.
Do you remember when they played Oklahoma? The famous Rozier had a run that was similar to the Marcus Allen run in the Super Bowl against Washington, where he goes one way and then completely. So like this was like my first year. The expectations that day were that Nebraska was going to maul Miami.
Yes.
So none of the other games carried national championship implications until Miami won that game.
Yeah.
And then Miami ends up being the national champion, but they were behind in the pecking order, behind other teams.
Yeah. And yeah, so now that we've gotten all the weirdness and the stupid paths, done with, it's incredible. Here's another way to look at the game.
Because Chad, it wasn't until like 10 o'clock that night on January 1st of 1984 that Texas fans realized what the muffed punt,
what they lost,
10-9 loss in the Cotton Bowl, what it ended up meaning. But when people walked out of the stadium that day, it was just a loss. Because everybody would have walked out of the stadium that day saying, okay, well, let's get home. Let's watch Nebraska beat the crap out of Miami. And when that did, so it's, anyway, tangent over. Sorry.
No, and it's obviously going to be incredible these next couple days. By the way, our man Jareth had an idea about the word foursome, but Jareth, it's more than a foursome, right? Football foursome week. It's 5 full days, and it's way more than 4 games. Because if you're going to add the NFL in, then we got to figure it out. We got to just figure out what it is. Good start, though. Good start.
How many games is it total? I guess
you got
8, right?
Right. The 2 plus 2 plus 5. It's 7 games, right? 5.
6 in the NFL.
6 in the NFL. It's 8. Right. 8 games. Yeah.
8 games over 5 days.
8 games over 5. You got a game, then it's 2, then 3, and then 1. Over the time. So
but we're getting primetime games every night.
That's a great way to look at it.
The NFL is not leaving
space. You're right. Both semifinals prime time. Then the Saturday prime timer is
Ravens Steelers. You need to know that. Steelers.
And by the way, how dare you, NFL, just putting that on prime video? That's cruel. Primetime Sunday Bucks and Commanders, if I'm
that is a strange primetime game.
Mistaken. Baker, touchdown maker at night. And then obviously primetime Rams and Vikings, whether it's in LA or maybe in Arizona, they might move it for the wildfire situation. So yeah, it's going to be incredible. Catch, we're going to get into some notes getting ready for Texas and Ohio State. I have a note to get us started, but first, let's just remind everybody where they can come watch the game with us, because we have had a great time all the way back to OU. That's when we started this thing. The only thing I regret about the TCH social situation is that we didn't start sooner. I wish it had been the whole season. From OU to now, we've been going out there every week, and it's freaking awesome. So come see us. tomorrow evening, as we talk to you on a Thursday, get on out there. The drink specials start at 5:30. We'll watch Texas and Ohio State. We'll even get you a little special pregame at 6. We'll do the postgame after the game like we normally do. We always recommend the Bad Beat Bacon. I know it's silly to put salmon on a screen and tell someone it's great, but damn it, it's great. Go have that salmon and tell me I'm wrong if you're in the mood for fish. $1 draft, $2 jellyfish, 5:30 and on. It is an awesome time. Come see us at Texas Card House Social, TCH Social Austin, 183 and Anderson Mill. And for you online poker degenerates, we remind you, Hijack Poker is there. Ketch is right there. You might end up at a virtual table right next to Jeff Ketchum. Hijackpoker.com. This is for all you online players in the state of Texas. The OB20 code is valid through January 31st. All right. We got that part out of the way. Ketch, just a real quick scene setter question for you. I looked up Mel Kiper's big board. Top 10 at every position going into this draft.
Okay.
How many guys from Texas and Ohio State do you think he has in top 10 situations?
$18.
It's a good number, and you're almost there. 22. He's got 14 guys on the offensive side of the ball and 8 on the defensive side of the ball that are in his top 10s at
each position.
At each position. And if you think about that, lay that all out, that's draft eligible guys. So that doesn't even include freaks like Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill. That doesn't include any of those guys, but there's still 22 of them. Ketch, I saw Prize Picks. I know you're picking a defensive-minded game. I am as well. These two defenses are full of freaks. The offenses have talent. This is going to be a Texas USC 06 game in terms of that. Is it going to be the greatest college football game ever? Probably not. But it will be one I think we look back at and go, man, remember that game? Remember that game with those guys on either side of the ball? This playoff era to produce something like this is truly special. There's dogs all over this game.
The context is completely different, but everybody does the Texas versus USC game, and they'll count the number of first round picks and pros, and because they had 3 Heisman winners and all that stuff, right? This kind of reminds me of the Texas Ohio State game from the same year, where it was just like, it wasn't 41-38, but go back and look at those teams that night matched up, and I think we'll do that. I think 10 years from now, we'll look back and we'll go, Jesus, there was 55 NFL players that played in that game, or 40 or whatever is a weird, wild number. But, I think one of the things that's probably been a little interesting for me this week, and Tracy, we see your super chat. We'll go right to it here in just a second. I wonder, I find myself for weeks having I can't have enough respect for the two defenses in this game. I would imagine that both fan bases feel like their defense is the difference. Because if I was an Ohio State fan, I'd be like, yo, our defense, right? We're better than Arizona State. We're better than Georgia.
Yeah.
And consequently, Texas is going to be like, hey, just so you know, Michigan, we're a lot better than Michigan.
Right. Going to be a different show.
If you thought those guys from Michigan on defense were really good, wait till you see our toys. Yeah. And as the game gets closer, all you got to forget about both offenses, which, oh, by the way, are loaded with future pros. But I'm telling you, when you look at the defenses, it's,
Well, and the best part, Catch, is they're both right.
Yes.
Everything you just said is correct. Any bow up that the defensive guys want to do from Ohio State or the fan base, they're right. And when Texas fans, they're right too. And that's the beauty of this thing, man. It's just the disruption factor is key. By the way, shout out to Alex Dunlap during the Prize Picks show. He hit on a point catch that I think might determine this whole game for Texas. Texas has to make the announcers in this game say the name of the center and the left tackle that Ryan Day wishes was starting the game. They're both going to wear street clothes. I'm assuming they're both going to be there. I know the center is. I'm not sure if the left tackle guy is, but they've taken the left guard and slid him out to left tackle, and they're playing a redshirt sophomore center instead of the guy they want to play. That's the job for Texas. Collins and Simmons and Hill and all those guys. Make the announcers say those dudes' names. Make them say Simmons' name, Josh Simmons, and make them say Seth McLaughlin. If that happens, that's how Texas wins this game for me. That's how they could do it.
Interesting. Make them say their names quite a bit is maybe even a better. They're going to get their name said.
Because you know how they work on those broadcast catch. They love to show that guy, right? So let Colin Simmons come around the edge and crush Will Howard. Sack, fumble, Texas recovers. Who are they going to show? They're going to show the cat that's supposed to be the left tackle. And if Colin Simmons comes right up the middle and gets a sack, they're going to show the dude that they want to be the center that's not. That's the kind of thing Texas needs to – they need to take advantage of that because there's one team in this game that doesn't have the full offensive line they want, and it's the Buckeyes.
And that – if we were talking about from a personnel standpoint what the biggest mismatches are in the game, like individually, whatever side of the field, offense, defense we're talking about, what are potentially the biggest individual one-on-one mismatches? I think you could make the case. Now, look, if you're an Ohio State fan and you're like, well, you know what? Touche. But we think, having watched that offensive line in 2 of the last 3 weeks, we think our defensive line against your healthy players is as good of a mismatch. I tell you what, we'll take our guys, and you can have Hayden Connor or rotate out Cole Hudson and DJ Campbell, and you do what you got to do, but we like our guys. It's why I've had 17-16 in my head all week long. It's why I haven't budged. It's why I look at some of these predictions, and they're in the 20s, and I've seen, I think Sukumel's got the winner in this game at 31, and I'm just like, these two teams are not who I think they are. If it's like that.
I saw a breakdown on the national level for this thing, and straight face, this guy said, to me, this is a game where you got to score 35 or 38 to win it. And I thought, really? Oh, okay. That's not how I see it, but
neither of these teams has played in a game this season. I mean, Ohio State got into a 32-31 game with Oregon earlier in the season.
Right.
But that has not been what we've seen. These two teams are great. They're great. I've been talking about historically, we're going to talk about this Texas defense in 10 years from now. And Ohio State's, if they win a national championship, that defense will be talked about 10 years from now. It's not. So will Jeremiah Smith.
I'll give you a pro game that you just made me think of. If your prediction's right, this game could have the feel of Super Bowl 42, the first Giants-Patriots game. Because going in, there was a thought about, oh my God, how are the Giants going to slow down that offense? Kind of like some people have about this Ohio State offense. And you got into that game and you realized the most important thing maybe in all of football is, hey, can the quarterback stand where he wants to stand and throw where he wants to throw? Oh, the answer is no? Well, then we got ourselves in a different ball game. And I think the final of that one was 17-14, if I'm not mistaken. And it's an all-time classic in a lot of ways. It's not the best football game you've ever seen in your life, but it's a tough man's, black and blue kind of game. And that's kind of what you're predicting, I think, with the 17-16. I'm not far from that number. I'm up in the 20s, but barely. And I think that's what we could see.
I remember where you were for 42?
I do. Yeah. Super Bowl watch party. I can remember it vividly.
I was at a watch party of my friend Matt, big Patriots fan.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch with a fan base of either.
Not the best football game of all time, but the tension for 4 quarters in that game, because it felt like if anyone scored, that would be the difference in the game. And I think the first of these two teams to get a touchdown, the pressure that they're going to then put on the other, hey, man, it's not just about we now got to score. If we don't, they cannot score again.
Yeah.
These two teams with the defenses that they have, you do not want to put either of these two defenses in a position where, we get to protect a double-digit lead? We're pretty good at that.
Yeah. You and I are both big believers in how much 2 scores and 3 scores matter. This one feels to me, tell me if you agree, it feels like 2 scores is deadly, 3 scores might be the coffin.
In soccer, they'll call games, it's either a second goal game or a third goal game. Because of the texture of the games, right? What it does and who scores that particular goal. I think who scores the second touchdown in this game is everything, because it will either mean that one has evened the game or the other has separated the game. So I now look, you might not be able to point to the second touchdown and say that team automatically wins. But I'm telling you, if we get into a scenario, the only danger in this game for either of these two teams is if either, I think, comes out and plays a bad first 15 minutes. I mentioned to you earlier in the week, what will I look for at the end of the first quarter to know that I think Texas is more than okay? Even on the scoreboard, no chase. No chase. This isn't the week for either team to be even chasing 7. I think is going to feel very tense. It's going to make decisions on field goals really fascinating because nobody really trusts their kicker. And it's going to be a game where points come at a premium, but and especially touchdowns. So when you decide to accept 3 points, let me tell you what this game feels like to me, Chad. And this is where Sarkisian and Day come into it. And this is where I think Mac Brown would have been. This was a Mac Brown kind of game. Coach it straight up. Treat it with respect. Don't. This is a game where take your 3 points. If it's outside of 40 yards in your Texas, you got to consider down in distance. But I think back to the A&M game, all you wanted out of Elko, hey man, take the points.
Right.
Take the points. Make it a 1-score game. Like, respect that it doesn't have to be won in a moment.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I think Sarkisian and Ryan Day are win games in moment guys. And that, to me, could be really scary in a game like this. When does either of these two coaches push a button that we immediately go, that was not the right decision, and it's costly?
Yeah, it's weird. In rewatching the Oregon game with the Ohio State catch, I know eventually it ends up 34-0. I thought one of the best decisions Day made was to make it 17-0. Why not? 3 scores.
Yep.
Keep stomping them. You don't need 21. You're slaughtered. Just go. Just take your points. I agree with you. You said Mac. Kind of like Mac Brown at Manhattan. That kind of Mac Brown. They won a game 17-14 one year where, was it Marcus Tubbs that blocked that field goal at the end of the game? And I never thought Mac got enough credit for that win. It was a hard-nosed, just man's kind of win. And he valued everything. Valued every little moment, didn't do anything stupid, didn't take any big risks, and knew what kind of game he was in, and he won the damn thing. That's a great point. Because both these coaches can get weird. You're right. Both these coaches can get into their binders at the wrong moment. Do not live in your binder. Take your 3. And also catch early opportunity in this game to trust your kicker in a weather-controlled environment. No wind, no sun, because it's not a 325 kick for the Cowboys. And let them kick one. You get like a 35-yarder early in this game, send out your field goal team. Kick it.
December 28th, 2001. I wanted to make sure I got the details on this right, because this is when I mentioned Mac Brown's name. This is the thing I always respected Mac's game management. Let me tell you where it started. Holiday Bowl against Washington in 2001.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's the first year of orangebloods.com. In
Okay.
fact, Orange Bloods would have been, well, the first technical sign-up day on Orange Bloods is May 29th, 2001. So we're almost 7 months to almost the 7-month birthday. And I'm running Orange Bloods, and I'm in Qualcomm Stadium that night. And I don't know how there'll be a lot of young Texas fans. I mean, this game's a bit dated. It was only 24 years ago. But Texas gave up 36 second and third quarter points in that game. It was a 0-0 game at the end of the first quarter.
Jesus, I forgot that.
Washington was sitting at 36 going into the fourth quarter. And I'll never forget. So, and it looked like, at the end of the third quarter, it's a 36-20 game. And I remember sitting in the stands, middle of the third quarter, as a young reporter owning Orange Bloods. And I was like, oh, in my head, I was like, oh my God. This is going to be the first time when I, as the beat guy for Texas football on this site, when I'm going to have to set Mac Brown on fire. They're getting obliterated by what was a pretty average Washington team. And there's a point in the third quarter. Texas was down 36-17 with less than 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Texas gets the ball back. They get the ball down. They're down by freaking 19 points almost at the fourth quarter. And they're on the Washington 7-yard line. And Mac kicked a field goal to make it 36-20. And I remember thinking at the time, no, Mac, no, there's only 15 minutes left. And you need touchdowns and not field goals. And yep, Chad.
He scores. The man can count.
And look, what's crazy is it didn't even go down to it was even Mac's decision was even because you're thinking, okay, now you're down by 16,
right?
2 8s, and you're back in business. Texas didn't go 8-8. They scored a touchdown with 11:54 left in the game. Matt Trissel caught a touchdown pass from Major Applewhite that I still remember. They missed the 2-point conversion. So that's 36-26.
Damn. Okay.
Then 3 minutes later, Ivan Williams scores a touchdown. They kick the extra point. Now it's 36-33. Yep. Then with 2 minutes later, Bo Scaife caught a touchdown pass from Major Applewhite and they kicked the extra point. And suddenly Texas is up 40-36. Believe it or not, there were more touchdowns to come. But that game, more than any other game of football I've ever watched, that field goal that Mac Brown took has been the one that I've always remembered. That it's like, you know what? Sometimes you go by the book because the book is right. Sometimes being conventional seems safe, but sometimes it's the right decision. And I just think we're going to get, and it will happen tonight too. And in a situation, and this is the James Franklin part of tonight, it's like, God, man, James, with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, you're not going to just do something unconventional because you're James Franklin, are you?
Yeah, he will. He will.
And if Mac were coaching this game, the one thing I wouldn't worry about is like strategically, Mac never panicked. And that Holiday Bowl is the best example of that. That man kicked a field goal from the 7. There's no way Sarkisian does that after at the 7-yard line. They're down by 19. There's no way.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. All right, we got some super chats to get to. Plus, catch, we are being accused of a full-blown clickbait show because we haven't gotten into some of the intel of
That's
the
our
game.
fault. We don't mean to be. I understand why some might think that.
Yes, we didn't mean to do it. Trust us, we will get there. Real quick, Jody's idea is the elimination 8 for these games. How's that strike you? It's 8 games. Elimination 8?
Jody, let's keep workshopping.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. All right. And you said you'd get to it. Let's get this one, and we'll get some intel out there. Super chat, $10 with the game on the line. Who are you trusting? Number one, 40-yard field goal, Auburn or Fielding? Based on what I've seen lately, Fielding.
Yes. Although my game prediction is that Fielding misses a field goal at the buzzer and Texas wins 17-16.
No tension there. Number two, Texas red zone offense versus Ohio State's red zone defense.
Duh. Tracy, you really need us to say it out loud?
Yeah, I think you know the answer to that one. 3, Ohio State red zone offense versus Texas red zone defense. Same thing. Yep, same side of the ball. And number 4, fade ball, Jeremiah versus Jade. Oh, my God. I hope we see a couple of those. Oh.
I mean, they'll both. It's arguably the best receiver in the country against the best corner in the country.
Yeah, Tracy, I'll give Jeremiah a little bit of an advantage just because of the size, a little bit of the size.
I think Jeremiah is going to be a top 5 pick, and I don't think that about Jade. So if it's game on the line, who am I taking? Jeremiah, I think, is a better, more dynamic, athletically gifted than Jade.
Yep. All right, we'll get to some of these other super chats here. Catch, in terms of the intel side of it, again, we would tell everybody, go to orangebloods.com. 2 war rooms. You know how big this game is? 2 war rooms this week. Anwar had so much stuff yesterday, he thought, well, let's just throw it out there. So it is there for you at orangebloods.com. He got to talk to both coordinators. He got to talk to Kwiatkowski. He got to talk to, well, not both coordinators. It would be, Kwiatkowski defensive side, got to talk to Kyle Flood on the offensive side. Sark and Day will go today in terms of press conferences. So keep your ears peeled for that.
By the way, nice job, Kwiatkowski and Kyle Flood yesterday. I love when men who, if you're going to wear a cowboy hat, you have to know what season it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's true. They went with the cold weather black cowboy hats.
Yeah, they went felt.
Yeah, you show up in a straw hat in January, you look dumb.
Well, because whenever they have these games in bowl games, oftentimes when the game's played in Texas, and if you've got 2 out-of-state teams, they'll show up and guys will just put cowboy hats on because they think it's the thing to do. And it's like, I'm cool with that. Someone just needs to let you know that,
we got
there's a protocol on these things.
Yeah,
and
we got rules.
I don't even wear cowboy hats, but I know the rules.
Yeah.
And women will wear white after Labor Day, but they know the rules.
Yeah, they know. Oh, they know. Absolutely. So Catch, in terms of the info that came out of Anwar's interviews yesterday, the stuff you've been hearing, what's the thing that's on top of your mind right now coming out of Arlington?
It's so easy. It's the injuries. The single biggest, there are some wonky little insider notes in the war room that are related to Alex January and kind of how what Pete Kwiatkowski thinks of January. And Anwar asked Kyle Flood about the portal, and I found that to be absolutely fascinating. But as it relates to this game, the idea that Isaiah Bond, because I talked to a source last couple of weeks, and it was like, hey man, they're gonna play him. It is what it is. And I had people say, we're not going to get that version of Isaiah Bond back. That there's a vibe. And look, it could just be fool's gold. Maybe this is just stuff that happens the week of the game. And then once the adrenaline wears off, or maybe there's an aggravation. Like, I don't want to promise anything. But I'm telling you, a week ago, my expectations for Isaiah Bond were that he would not catch a pass against Arizona State. And he didn't. This week, you're hearing enough positivity with regards to where he is with the ankle that I'm like, is he the secret weapon that decides this game? And because he can be. Because, boy, if you told me right now, like I'm already picking Texas to win a low-scoring game, but if you tell me that Isaiah Bond is 90%. Oh, That is such a offensive changing dynamic for Texas.
Yep.
Yeah. Cam Williams he's looked better, and I think there's, he's going to play on Friday. The expectation is that he's going to play, and the expectation is he's looked good in practice. They feel like they're there. The Michael Taft shoulder injury.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, we don't get SEC injury reports after SEC season. So that was like, that honestly, when I read that, I was like, oh.
Yeah, that got my attention. In a game that'll be this physical, in a game that's going to be this nasty, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Junkins, the way they use Junkins catch, they use him like you're taking a sledgehammer to a boulder sometimes, and that means Taft's going to be involved in a lot of that.
Well, Taft throws his body around like he's Bill Bates.
I was going to say, and Taft is kind of a physical football player. So when I saw that note, it blinked at me a little bit.
He's got like a Cliff Harris Captain Crash kind of a thing. Like, yeah. I know he goes by Mookie, but if they called Michael Taft Captain Crash, it would feel like totally appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, the injuries, there was a lot of stuff in there. They're confident. They feel like they've had a good week of practice. The report on Ewers is that he looks good and has been very crisp this week. I would expect that from both teams. I wouldn't go to I wouldn't go to Bucknuts and see a report and go, oh, man, they really felt like Wednesday's practice didn't go well. Like I think every team's going to feel good. I think they're going to feel good about the game plans. So there's not a whole, I thought there was a comment that Anwar had from a source talking about the underdog role. And I love the fact that whoever he spoke with called it out for what, like sometimes we talk about this stuff and that guy was like, dude, we've been playing like 14 games to get here. We spent the entire offseason talking about getting here. Motivation is not an issue. This is 2 teams, quite honestly, 4 teams. It couldn't be more, boy, if Notre Dame and Penn State play each other tonight, and at the end of the game, it's like, oh, we had heard earlier in the week that Penn State hadn't had a good week of practice. You'd be surprised that at this point, teams of this quality would play like that. It's all about the injuries, and there's probably more good than bad. Because I'll be honest, I would trade Michael Taft's shoulder for a healthy Isaiah Bond ankle.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair because, you get your full attack on offense that you didn't have. You've already got the relationship between Ewers and Golden, and you're adding Bond so that when you're running those like deep crossing routes, it matters who that guy is. It just does. And when 7 runs those deep crossing routes, defenses notice and they have to deal with it.
Well, the last time we saw Isaiah Bond like really be an integral part of this offense and when was the last time that Texas looked good on offense? It was the Florida game.
I was about to say Gators, right?
And against Florida that day, they're running end arounds and getting him the ball. And, that was the game that I made my triumphant return to DKR. And
that's right.
They went out of their way to get the ball to Bond that day. And that was the first time coming off of the Oklahoma injury. Bond had a 44-yard rush that day where it just looked like they shot him out of a cannon. And then he had 3 for 55 with a touchdown. And if you could tell me that Isaiah Bond could give Texas that's just a touchdown, 3 for 55, one big play like on an end around. Holy crap. I am emboldened in my thoughts that Texas will narrowly win this game.
Yeah. All right. We got some super chats to hammer through, and we will do that. Let's go to Oscar because it's 1999. Thank you, Oscar. Says, I just watched Joel Klatt use Ryan Day's as mouthwash on the herd. He says, Ohio State has just been saving everything strategically for the playoff, and Texas has no chance. God, Hope Texas washes Day's head in a toilet bowl. My goodness. All right. Oscar's ready. Oscar's ready for the game.
The only thing that Oscar could have done to take that up a notch was to go Home Alone 2. And Texas doesn't just wash Day's head in a toilet bowl, but it's like a toilet bowl of kerosene.
Oh, right. With the full fire and just go.
Yeah, it wasn't enough
Yeah.
that he had to try to put his head on fire in the toilet. Kevin had a special plan.
Yeah, he did.
By the way, I listened to they actually burned the shit out of his head in reality. Like,
did they really?
Yeah, like, yes, he suffered burns on his head from surprise having his head.
That's the weirdest. Like, we all don't realize it until you see those interviews where you're like, well, how did they make that look so real? Because it was real. Oh.
You know what else was real? They actually threw like 5 pounds of bird seed on Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. And that scene where the birds attack them.
That's real.
That's real. Because apparently there's like a legend that one of the birds flew into Daniel Stern's mouth.
Oh, that is so gross. Oh my
Sorry
God.
for my Home Alone 2 dissertation, but that's new information that just recently came into my head.
That is terrible. Jareth adds a $5 super chat. Thoughts on Jade and Jeremiah? Do you think PK lets Jade shadow him, or does PK let the scheme do the heavy lifting and rely on safety help? Jareth, we have discussed that this week. I don't know if we have an absolute answer. Catch, what's your thought today?
I think they'll do what they do. So I don't know. I'm an advocate for, there's an idea of like, hey, don't change up what you already do at this point in the season. And I'm a big, no, do what you do. Do what you can absolutely do the best.
Yeah.
If the light switch had come on for Ryan Wingo in the last couple of weeks, and he'd been like a real big play producer, and it was like, well, this isn't the game to make Ryan Wingo the focal point. Well, no. If he were your best player, and he's not, I'm just using him as an example, but like if there's an evolution, Joe Klatt doesn't get to say that Ohio State's been saving everything, which sounds ludicrous. They sure didn't look like they were saving anything against Michigan. Just FYI. And I don't remember Joe Klatt after the Michigan game. And to be fair to Joe Klatt, like I haven't heard any of these remarks. So,
yeah,
Joel, if in any reason you've been misrepresented, apologies. But I don't remember Joe. I don't remember anybody after Michigan kicked Ohio State's butt, and then Ohio State got all in their feelings about the flag and midfield. Nobody said, "Oh no, Ohio State wasn't even mad that day," because like they're just saving it. They didn't try to beat Michigan because they got stuff they're saving. That's no. I think that's silliness. But look, man, thinking that Ohio State will win this game's not. So if he just thinks that Ohio State's the better team and it's going to go that way, I don't agree, but I understand why he might think that.
We got more super chats we will get to. Brian Jones is coming up at 120. Damn near 900 of you in the Specs chat. We appreciate you. Also, let's remind you, if you're going to be watching this game at your home, or maybe you're going to somebody's house and you're going to watch on a badass setup and you're jealous of their setup, or you're at your place and your setup needs a little tweak, AV Consultations is your place. 255-8678. Hell, maybe you're moving into a new house and you've got the perfect room for the perfect man cave or movie room. You just need the place that knows how to set it up. This is it. Congratulations. I got it for you. 255-8678. They've been doing this since 1988. avconsultations.com. They will not stop until you are satisfied. You're going to love what they do for you. Check them out. Texas and Ohio State tomorrow night. We talk to you on a Thursday, so it's Notre Dame and Penn State tonight. Back to Super Chats, and S. Roan, one of our favorites, in for $5. Catch, buy or sell. You would be all right with the Cowboys drafting Quinn?
Sell. No. I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it. Like, I'm not going to get mad. But no, I don't want the Cowboys' future. Sorry, connected. I don't want Quinn's not the quarterback of the future for the Cowboys. Where would you feel comfortable? What round? If you're If I told you the Cowboys drafted Quinn in the 3rd round, they can't draft him in the 1st or the 2nd round.
I would not think so. Esrone, my gut reaction is sell because I like Quinn. I'll go that way.
Then there's that.
Yeah, I'll go that way. I like Quinn a little too much for that. Our man Cody Carpentier's jumping in with a $5 super chat. Odds we think Sark lets Stone kick a field goal.
That's a great question.
And if Burt misses his first field goal attempt, is that when you yank? What a great thing to type. Or does he ride like he has with Quinn? Cody, this is not the situation any Texas fan wants to think about. But Catch, let's work through this. Early in the game, let's say it's not an impactful part. It's what I talked about, right? Early in the game. You got like a 35, 38 yarder. Let's get him some confidence. It's 4th and 6, whatever. You send him out. It's 3-0 Ohio State. And he misses. Next opportunity of any sort of kick. Do you make a move?
No.
You got to stay with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
It partially, again, because if it was as simple as just putting Will Stone in the game, if he misses the first kick, when they try their next field goal, if there's a change, you're changing kicker, holder, and everything about protection and how the kicker lines up because Stone's left-footed. Right. So, no, if you're going Stone, Stone's the guy from the beginning. You do not – I'll put you like this. When I was a high school player back in the day playing center, I used to have 2 quarterbacks. One guy's name was Adam Currier. The other guy's name was Rodney Booker. Shout out to Book if he's out there. And same to Adam. One was left-handed and the other one was right-handed. And as someone snapping the ball to the quarterbacks under center, it bothered me all the time because the hands underneath you are just different when it's a left-handed quarterback versus a right-handed quarterback. The idea that the entire personnel unit would need to be tweaked in the middle of the game to make an in-game adjustment, I think it's in your snapper's head because the holder's having to turn around the other direction.
Because he sees something. The deep snapper will see a different image when he takes that look. And then obviously the other 2 parts of it are different.
And you can say it's still the same. They're 7 yards behind. And what difference does it matter where the hands are catching the ball? Man, I can just tell you, it's in your head. When changes are made, whenever we would in the middle of the game switch from Adam to Rodney in a game, my brain would turn off everything else that I was supposed to do, and I would be in my head, can't have a fumbled snap. And, if you're switching back and forth under center from a left to a right, they just happen more often than they ever would if you just gone with the same guy. Those changes, they're so seemingly insignificant, right? You're thinking these guys are getting paid $500,000 a year or whatever a snapper and all these guys make. They should be able to do this seamlessly. It's just trickier, and I just don't think this is the game to do it. I think Burt Auburn is who Burt Auburn is. It's not good right now, but you don't actually know that you don't know that Will Stone would be any better. In fact, up until this week, you've been pretty much convinced it wouldn't be. I just don't think you can change everything. But if it was as simple as Will Stone was a right-footed kicker and then Auburn missed, then I would yank him. But not given these unusual circumstances, there are not a lot of left-footed kickers in the world. And it is unfortunate for Texas that their primary backup, it's even, I think, more different than the difference between a left-handed quarterback and a right-handed quarterback. Like snapped and done all of these things. You don't want it.
What about Michael's idea on a super chat here? Art should hold. Why not always have a threat? You believe in this kind of stuff?
See, now this is some Ryan Day shit now.
Yeah, Michael, you don't need to worry about that.
And remember what I told you about Pep Guardiola at Man City? This is the kind of thing where it's like,
that's what he would do.
you've got here doing this, and you're changing your holder and your snapper. You're in the biggest game. You're changing your fundamentals, and I don't think you do that. So
I would agree.
Anyway, we probably talked about it enough, but that's my thought.
S. Roan, $5. Drew Kelson must have hit Klatt really hard. S. Roan, that is good. That's funny. I like that.
He did.
He did really hit him hard. To be fair, Joel Klatt, I think, has always been pretty fair to Texas.
No, Klatt loves Texas.
It's fine. There's no reason.
He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, there's no reason to give too much extra mean thought to Klatt. Chris, for $5, what's up? 6 inches of snow here in DFW. Got my fridge stocked and ready for this big game. Difference will be Texas wins the turnover battle. Texas 27-17. Chris, thank you for that. Catch, Oregon was +2 in the turnover battle when they beat Ohio State earlier in the year. It would be a huge assist in this game if what we would assume is a partisan Texas crowd. You assume there'll be more folks in burnt orange, win the turnover battle, and give both fan bases they both have reason to feel nervous at times. They've both seen it throughout the year when things go a little wrong, when things get a little weird, and when their quarterbacks get a little sloppy. So if it happens to Ohio State, oh goodness, the Ryan Day nervousness, the Ryan Day tension, the storylines, they will all flood back, and people will forget all about 34-0 against the Ducks if there's a couple early turnovers.
Will Howard, it's really interesting about Howard is that of all of the quarterbacks in the country, and look, he has one of the best passer ratings of anybody in the country. I think he's third or something like that. Maybe second in ESPN's QBR. Remember when I did that stat where I looked at 5 games of Quinn Ewers and I broke them down by quarters, and then Quinn had the most elite quarters of almost anybody, but then he had the most bad quarters.
Right.
Howard had one more elite quarter, but not as many bad quarters. But he had enough bad quarters that you could almost see these two guys with an extended sample size profiling similarly. Will Howard has been more consistently very good and great, but they both have shown a tendency to go nuclear in spurts. That's been Quinn's MO all year, and Will Howard has been very similar in that he can just be kind of sputtering along, and then boom, there's a 2-touchdown pass quarter where he throws for 150 yards, and suddenly Jeremiah Smith caught 3 passes, and you look at it and you go, oh, a 7-7 game is now 27-10, and that's how it happens.
By the way, Catch, back to the Kiper top 10 stuff. In his top 10 quarterbacks right now for this draft, he's got Ewers and Howard right next to each other. Ewers at 6, Howard at 7 in his top 10.
It's funny because, I mean, I think they're very similar guys. Hell, the thing you would say about Will Howard, it says a lot about how that guy's got 9 interceptions this year. That's not a little number. He threw 2 against Michigan, threw 1 against Tennessee, threw 1 against Indiana. If you look at he's thrown at least 1 interception in 3 of the last 4 games. He threw 1 against Penn State. He threw 1 against Nebraska. He didn't turn the ball over against Oregon, but going into that Oregon game, 3 in a row against Iowa, Michigan State, and Marshall. I didn't notice it on the prize picks, but this is a game where I told you this yesterday. I would pick both quarterbacks to throw a pick in this game. Yeah. And both of these guys have thrown picks in a lot of games this year.
Yeah, and it's just back to the defense, how we started. I mean, it's just so much good defensive talent. By the way, Cody Carpentier, I'm going to save your pro wrestling super chat for the end of this batch. It is a simple question with a slightly complex answer, and I want to get Catch's thoughts as well. So let's clean these other 2 off first. ATX Bates with a $4.99. Please, for the love of God, in this game, don't kick a player out for some lame-ass targeting. Bates, I'm always with you on this general thought, because they just shouldn't be throwing anybody out for anything in a football game that's reasonable. But yes, I agree with you. It's an ACC crew, apparently, Catch. Let's make sure. If you're going to throw Caleb Downs or Taff or Makuba, or just to name the similar, if you're going to throw one of those guys out, oh, it better be good. It better be good. There better be blood. There better be a cart. There better be moms and dads crying all over the world if you're going to throw someone out of this football game.
This is not the time to have a conversation about the targeting rule, but I would be quite open to a number of other ideas if we changed the targeting. The targeting rule is too vicious.
I agree.
It's too vicious.
Yeah.
And
you're saying the penalty is too punitive for the player.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
I totally agree. And I'm up for anything you're about to suggest that's not throw him out of the game.
I would be open to inventing a penalty box concept in football where, hey, 10 minutes of actual game time you have to sit out.
Right.
So,
and maybe since it's football, maybe you can still replace him, unlike hockey. But I've thought of that too. What about for the next however many drives? Forget about minutes because that can change. Make it drives.
I'm open to a couple of – hey, you know what's – I'd be okay with a one series, the rest of the series that you're in, and the next one, you're out.
Yeah, because otherwise, here's the world we live in. Hey, you know that badass safety for Arizona State? Yeah, man, he's awesome. He can't play for the first 2 quarters. Why not? Because he did something in the second half of the last game. Huh? What? Like, that's the world we live in. We got to fix that. That's stupid.
They went too far.
They did. I agree.
And you will not find two people who we support protecting the players.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It is.
Absolutely.
But they're if you're having to slow-mo it down and you're not exactly sure, give the kid a penalty, but don't throw him out like for the rest of a game or for 2 quarters of the – like, come on.
Yes, and stop using the word intent to describe what you think a 20-year-old is doing at full speed. Stop saying intent. I hate when they do that. Drives me crazy. Thank you.
Sometimes if I run, I fall down, and my intention is not to fall down.
Exactly. I get up every day thinking I don't want to fall down. Like I think that all the time. Jody with a 10 spot. If we're talking about a Super Bowl 42-ish, both teams under 20 points type of game, the secret weapon may need to be Bert Auburn. If you're going to take the points, you better make the points. Jody, he could be really important in this game if Sark trusts him early and he nails one. Well, you got your kicker. Look at Ohio State. That kid missed a 34-yard kick and catch when it came to the moment. And I know they're already beating them like 14-0 against Oregon. It was a perfect opportunity. I think it was 36 yards and he crushed it. Later on, it was 31-0. Let him kick it. He nailed that one too. Early lead helped, but they trusted him and he hit the kick. And I guarantee you Day would tell us Fielding's his guy now. No doubt about it. So give Bert Auburn the opportunity to get it back.
I would argue I think a case could be made that early in the game, if Texas is in the red zone, something like that, and it's 4th and 3 from the 13-yard line, let Auburn kick the field goal.
Yep.
Build some confidence. Take the 3 points. I almost wonder if the worst thing that Jody might be right. Texas might need Bert Auburn to make a kick to win this game. Maybe the thing you wouldn't want to do is for 58 minutes, treat the game like the last thing you want to do is have Bert Auburn have to kick a field goal. And he feel that? Because kickers, what do? When the offense has the ball and they start driving, kicker goes over to the net.
Yep.
He's getting ready. He realizes it might be my time to shine. And then at some point, they'll go stand on the sidelines with the helmet on, like, put me in, coach. And if they don't put him in, you're left in a situation where Bert Auburn's like, okay, no confidence today, huh? And then you just might need him, though. So maybe Sark's again.
You can get him early.
This game could come down to which of these head coaches' impulse decisions end up hurting the team the least. Because I really think both of these coaches will be in their head 4th and 3 from the 13. I'm not so sure that Sark is like, yeah, let's take the 3 points. Let's let Bert feel good about himself if in case we need him later on to make a bigger kick. And Ryan Day could do something even crazier. Like, I don't know. So I think the thing you feel good about if you're Texas is it doesn't feel like Ohio State has a clear advantage in the kicking game. You might say they do, but nobody really trusts the kicking game. Yeah. I literally am picking this game to end on a missed kick. So if it were a situation where one of these teams had Sebastian Janikowski and you were rolling in with Bert Auburn, it would feel like that's the biggest advantage in the game. I don't think that exists.
So, Catch, back to my question of the week, and I'll change it slightly. If both of these coaches had the question of 45-yard kick at the end of the game will decide it one way or the other, the losing team will have a 45-yard kick. Do you want the kick or do you want the other team to have the kick? What do you think Sark and Day would tell us right now? Not tell us. Give it to them on secret ballot. They don't have to say it out loud to the media, but they have to write it down.
Know.
And it really does matter. Because I don't know. I don't know either.
I think those guys would say they would want the kick.
Right.
But you ever say something and then like 2 seconds later, you're like, ooh, can I take that back? Is it too late?
Yeah. As it's leaving your mouth, you want it back. I think that might be what they do. All right.
Fielding. Let me just I'm curious. Hold on.
Okay.
I need to look at Bert Auburn's numbers just real quick. Let's look at these guys for the season. Okay.
Okay. You need a second to pull up numbers, or are you good?
I've pulled them up. Bert Auburn.
Okay.
He's making 64% of his field goals, which is not good.
I was going to say, when I hear that number, that doesn't sound like what I want out of my kicker.
That's not what you want your quarterback completing from a pass.
No, I need that to be 65, I think, right?
But when you look at Jaden Fielding, he's at 73.3, which is better, but it's only marginally better. And here's the wild thing about these two guys, okay? Fielding is 3 of 5 between 30 and 39, but he's 6 of 7 from 40 to 49. He missed his only 50-yarder, so I guess you would just say he's 6 of 8 from 40 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Auburn is almost automatic inside of 40, and it's outside of 40. He's 6 of 14, 40-plus yards this year. So it's, yes, Fielding has the better numbers this year, but he's not as good inside of 40 yards as he is outside of 40 yards in a head-to-head matchup. And so again, Fielding probably is the baby edge because, hey, it's nice to know that you've got a guy that's 75% from 40 plus as opposed to 40% from 40 plus. But Fielding's like no sure thing anytime he kicks the ball.
Yeah. All right. Jose in with a $9.99. Thank you, Jose. Catch and Chad, buy or sell. Do either of these acting performances beat Jerry's Landman scene? This is all you, Catch, because I didn't see it. Buy or sell, Jackie Gleason as Buford T. Justice better than Jerry?
Yes.
That's a buy. Buy or sell, Randy Travis as the truck driving singer-songwriter in Black Dog better than Jerry?
Sell. So Jerry's in the middle on this.
Okay. Jose, I can't believe that you just brought up Black Dog and not even like and you brought up the Randy Travis part of Black Dog. That's awesome. As a fan of Randy Travis, I appreciate what you just did.
Forever and ever. Amen.
Love me some Randy Travis.
I have a Landman buy or sell question for you.
Okay.
And I have a hotter than that's based on Landman.
Excellent. Okay.
So Jose and I are like
they get
two little peas in a pod.
We're about to get to that point. 2 more super chats and we'll get there. Brad with a $9.99. I imagine if the game is on the line again, Sark's pep talk to Auburn is a bit different this time around. Quote, if you miss this kick, I will kill you, etc. I don't know if that would be it. Saban would tell him just not to talk to him, Brad. That probably is the funniest thing that came out of that whole sequence when Saban told someone, I never talk to kickers. I don't even know what you're saying. What do you mean talk to kickers?
Saban sometimes will just get an incredulous look on his face when someone suggests something that has
Yeah.
never occurred to him before. Rarely does he completely, I don't know that Nick Saban does a whole lot of, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know that that's his coaching philosophy.
Right.
But he will turn around and say something like, well, I've been in coaching for I've been doing this. He likes to toss his hands up in the air. Yeah. I've been doing this for 50 years, and that never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And it's the same as saying, I think that guy's an idiot. He just has enough tact to say, well, never crossed my mind, and I'm Nick Saban, so do with that what you will.
That's how you get to be Nick Saban.
Are we going to buy or sell?
All right, let's go. You want buy or sell? We're going to save Cody's wrestling super chat.
I'm going to go second because Brian might show up and want a piece of my buy or sells.
All right, Cody, we'll get to your super chat after buy or sell. So I'm going first.
Yes?
Okay, here we go, Catch. Buy or sell number 1. The winner in Arlington will face Notre Dame.
Sell. I'm going to pick Penn State to win tonight.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, the next one's really interesting if that's what you're doing. Buy or sell number 2. James Franklin will have at least 2 of those play calling / time management moments.
Oh, buy. Yeah. I mean, I'm picking Penn State to win the game, but I'm not picking Penn State to reinvent itself.
Is Penn State going for it 4th and 8 on their own 12? Oh, okay. All right. Catch buy or sell number 3. Jared Allen had 25 and 12 last night, and Cleveland did win that big game and ended Oklahoma City's win streak. You can tell me his age within a year.
Sell.
The reason I asked this is when I saw Jared Allen last night in the press conference, I'm like, damn, he's got old man face.
I mean, can I guess?
You can, of course, can guess. That was the whole point. You have a magical talent.
No, well, the point was the question wasn't for me to do it. The question was, do I think I can tell you his age?
Right, and you said you didn't.
And
you don't think you could get there?
I don't think I can do it. But if I was going to guess, 25 is what popped into my head.
See, you got to trust yourself. He's 26 years old. Very good. Well done. Would have been well done. I could clap, but I'm not because you gave up on yourself.
But I gave you an answer that he could have been 30 or he could have been 23. I don't know.
He was sitting up there with Mobley and they were talking about the game. And I swear, I'm like, he looks like he's 44 years old sitting up there.
The thing about Jared is he only played 1 year at Texas. And so he's been in the NBA for almost a decade. But he went as a baby. So, yeah, he's 25 years old.
He's got such an old man face, though, that mature kind of face and everything. Great game last night. Cleveland did get that win. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 4. You can tell me the last seasons each of these 4 teams won a national title.
Oh, sure. I mean, Ohio State's 2014. Texas is 2005. Notre Dame is 1988. And Penn State is 1987. Or 86, excuse me.
There you go. Well done. Technically 87, but 86 season. Yes, very good. Yeah, Penn State's number is 13,898 days will have gone by if they get the national title, and they do have the longest run.
Do you remember the Penn State-Miami game?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Vividly. I was heartbroken at the result of that game. Rooting like hell for Testaverde and that crew. That was the show up in the camo game, I think, for Miami. God, I was rooting for that Hurricane team, and Joe Paterno and the group beat him. Remember, Catch, if you don't know how to figure that game out time-wise, that was about 10 years into Jerry Sandusky as DC, and it was also about 10 years into Jopa probably knowing about Jerry Sandusky.
Oh, yeah, 1987.
80, right, exactly, 86. Remember, Jopa probably knew about Sandusky when Elvis was alive. Let's just make sure we understand that. Okay, snarkiness over. Finally, Catch buy or sell number 5. The hottest girl at Notre Dame is hotter than the hottest girl at Penn State.
Sell. Penn State's a public university.
Ooh,
they got more students. And there could be a little bit more of the Texas Tech factor in play than you would at Notre Dame.
That is an interesting argument. I was going to go with Catholic naughtiness, but all right, fair enough. I think that might be a decent argument as well. That is my 5, Catch. What do you got?
Buy or sell number 1. Notre Dame 24, Penn State 21.
Wow, you're going very exact here. Not just like a Notre Dame wins.
Well, it's not. It's you're buying this as an outcome.
I will sell. I think I've talked myself into like a, I don't know, 7 to 10 point Notre Dame win. Penn State's got to show me. I don't trust them at all. Franklin will be Franklin.
Why do you trust Notre Dame to win by double digits?
I trust the soundness that they're playing with right now. They don't seem to make big mistakes. If Love is healthy and that defense ends up making plays and their special team, and they've had those big, I'm not saying they make a 98-yard play again, but they've had explosive plays when they needed it. And I'm just going to trust that defense and just their soundness is better than Penn State. So Lions prove me wrong.
Buy or sell number 2, Jaden Blue will have more offensive touches on Friday than Isaiah Bond.
More offensive touches. I'll buy. I'll say it's like a 7 to 5.
Fair enough. I thought that's probably the right way to answer that question. But if I told you that Jaden Blue had no receptions and 2 carries in the game, would you believe that Sark just forgot about him altogether? Probably not.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Buy or sell number 3, Gunnar Helm will be a priority in the Texas offense and not forgotten.
Oh, my God. I'd love to say buy, but I'm going to have to say sell. Just another challenge I'll throw out to Sark. Please make me wrong here, Sark. 85's a beast. It's probably the best tight end in football. Please remember that against Ohio State. There.
Buy or sell number 4. If I tell you that Landman is the most fun show I've seen in the last year, that would be enough for you to give it a watch.
Very possibly. What's it on? What do I need?
Paramount Plus.
Buy, because I believe this household is currently paying for that. So I wouldn't do a new one, but yeah, I'm buying.
So I had my dental surgery yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I came home and was going to work. And then somebody was like, you should be in bed. And I was like, yeah. So I went, got into bed, and I watched 7 consecutive episodes of Landman before I went to sleep last night.
Wow. Are these 30s or hours?
These are like 45, 50 minutes.
Okay. So basically hours. All right.
It is. It's my favorite TV surprise in a long time.
Oh. Okay.
I have been like, I watched like the first 5 minutes of the pilot, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not feeling this. Billy Bob's got a hood over his head. He's dealing with the cartel. Taylor Sheridan. I already do enough Taylor Sheridan shows. This is the best Taylor Sheridan show. Let me tell you what Landman is. The way it's shot and presented. It's like Friday Night Lights, the TV show, focused around the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
And it is amazingly good. I cannot believe how much I like this show. I will watch it a second time around, probably in like the next week or 2.
And are we in season 1?
Season 1.
Oh, okay.
The season finale is Sunday.
I will bring it up to my wife because we might check out a show like that. I think she digs Billy Bob enough. Either way, I'll check it out.
Billy Bob, Demi Moore,
yeah,
John Hamm,
love John Hamm,
and the best version of Allie Larder that has ever existed.
You're good. You can stop the sell,
and you get to see our.
You're good. You are stop. Seriously, you're fine. Nothing else is required for you to get me to watch Landman.
No spoilers. I swear to God, this is not a spoiler.
I doubt it.
It's not like it's not a network show. It's an HBO show.
Cool. Okay, good.
And all that implies.
I like it.
And finally, because I'm in the Landman, I have 3. I tried to squeeze it in, Chad. That's what she said. I've got episode 9 of Landman up.
Okay.
and there's 3 minutes left on the episode. I couldn't sneak it all the way in before the show.
Okay.
But I'm going to be caught up, and I'm going to watch the season finale when it happens. And I cannot believe how much I love the show. And I thought I had hoped that Brian would be here for this buy or sell question, because I think Brian would have an opinion on this.
Yeah, let me give you a weird Brian update before you do this one. I just got something from Brian, and it says my homeboy's flick, and he sent me a link to, I guess, a movie reference or something, but he hasn't come in yet. Like, am I supposed to click on? Is this like a pat? What am I doing here? I don't know what that means. Hold on.
I don't either.
I don't either. Anyway, sorry. Give me your buy or sell.
It's a game of Hotter Than, and it's Prime on Prime.
Okay.
And it's late 90s, like mid 2000s. Well, here we go. I won't build it up anymore.
Okay.
Minka Kelly in her prime.
Oh.
Hotter than Allie Larder in her prime.
Wow.
And can I tell you that Allie Larder's prime might be right now?
That is nice. This is going to come down to pure fandom for me, and I'm going to sell and go with Allie Larder. Nothing against Minka Kelly. She is incredible, but Hotter Than sometimes has just personal feelings in it, and I just have some personal feelings about Allie Larder, and I'll just sell and go Allie Larder.
I'm with you on this.
Okay.
And have you ever watched an episode of Yellowstone?
No, never have.
There's a character named Beth in Yellowstone.
Okay.
That's kind of just become a signature television character, like in the history of television. Like I can walk into stores in the Woodlands and I'd buy t-shirts quoting Beth from Yellowstone.
Right. I've seen references to Beth Dutton. Is that the name? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allie Larder's character, I will give Taylor Sheridan some credit here.
By the way, Brian is now hearing you, if that is important.
Oh, I see him.
Yes, Brian is now hearing you if you would like to give him any info before I bring him in.
Well, no, Brian, we just bring him in. Brian,
hang on. Give me a second. We got to have a little graphic stuff going on. All right, here we go.
Brian, do you have an opinion on a Hotter Than between Minka Kelly of Friday Night Lights back in the day and Allie Larder from Varsity Blues Whipped Cream Bikini?
First of all, hi, Psycho Bunny. Missed you.
I had surgery yesterday so that I could be here today.
On what?
I had a tooth.
Your nose?
I had a broken tooth. I broke a tooth biting into a piece of bacon, and I had to deal with that.
Is that what we're calling pork rinds these days?
No. It was actually a cheeseburger that I had that just had a lot of bacon in it, and it shouldn't have broken the tooth, but it did.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's hard ass bacon.
Chad was there. I was bleeding out of my mouth and everything.
It
wasn't hard bacon. My teeth suck, apparently.
When Ketch goes after a bacon cheeseburger, you better be the hell out of the way. That's all I know.
You sure it was bacon?
Yes, I am positive about that. Yes.
Okay, who are we looking up? Allie who?
So, Allie, you've seen Varsity Blues, the football movie.
It was so long ago. What's Allie's last name?
Allie Larder. L-A-R.
She's the whipped cream bikini girl.
L-A-R-T-E-R. Allie Larder.
And then Minka Kelly is
I remember Minka. Minka was in a yoga class when I first started doing yoga over at Breath and Body off of Burnett, 45th and Burnett. Minka was in a class and she was hot as all outdoors.
No, neither of these women are unattractive.
Yeah. I'm just refreshing my memory on.
So you're not watching Landman, because this all came up because I
do watch Landman. I just told Chad that's my new favorite series, and I need to watch the new episode that
Allie
just dropped.
Larder is Billy Bob's ex-wife.
That crazy?
Yes.
That's who plays that. Oh,
that's Allie Larder.
Trip. She is a trip, and the daughter. Well, her little fine ass turned me into a dirty old man. But mama and daughter, they are, dude. I told Chad last week, we raved about Landman, and every freaking character on there, they hit a home run. Everyone plays their role to a T. I love it. I binge watch Christmas Day, the day after, and as I just said, I need to catch up with the latest episode that dropped this Sunday. Yeah, Mama got it going on. Yeah. Mama,
There it is.
Mama, just don't give her too many margaritas.
No tequila. Yes.
Yeah, no tequila.
There you go. Catch, see, you got exactly what you wanted out of that one. So that
I'm so happy. Like I binged it last night, Brian.
Oh,
So
dude. Am I right? Every character plays their role to a T, and it's seamless, it's fluid. Taylor Sheridan has hit another home run. And
it's
Billy
the
Bob.
best series. It's the best Taylor Sheridan series.
That his writing, and I'd love to know how much improvisation Billy Bob is employing, because it fits him to a T. And I told Chad, I wish I could do a football show with that type of commentary, because that's how it would go if you were really, just you were unbridled and allowed to say what you really feel. It would be the sarcasm, the digs. Oh, it's priceless, man. It's so
By the way, Brian, one of the chatters wants to help you out here. Hook'em Ace says it's okay, BJ. She's 27.
Yeah,
27.
but
the daughter
27 in the show.
You're good.
The daughter's 27. That's 27.
And Brian, they are not putting an underage girl in that role.
27.
Even if she plays an underage girl.
Yeah, 27.
Wow.
I believe it.
Damn.
I believe it.
All right, I don't feel so bad anymore.
Now you're thinking, well, if I ever run into her.
There it is. All right, Catch.
I accidentally trip and bump into her. Yeah. Excuse me, miss. Sorry. Wipe that
She's
off.
almost 30.
Catch, since you're here for Brian this week, I will let you start, sir. What do you want?
Well, I've already started. I've talked about Landman. I'm good.
No, I understand, but I'm giving you the first football question as well. What do you want to talk to Brian about?
I actually want to start with tonight. Just
okay.
BJ, your vibe on, because I don't know that Chad and I agree on Notre Dame and Penn State and what we think is going to happen. Whereas I think we both feel like while we might not know who wins tomorrow night, we know what kind of game we're going to get. What is tonight?
I think it's going to be similar to what we got in the Notre Dame Georgia ball game. I think it's going to be a close affair, and I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. Neither of these offenses, other than Tyler Warren for Penn State in the passing game, neither of these offenses are that electric. Yeah, Faison coming back, adding that with Bo Collins and Mitchell Evans at tight end has awoken, if you will, this somewhat passing offense of Notre Dame, but it's still going to rely on Riley Leonard's legs. Penn State, they rely on Allen, and they rely on Singleton, Love, and Price, running backs for Notre Dame. So they're built similar. And while Aller is the more accomplished passer, they just don't light you up with that passing game, man. They leave a lot to be desired. And I like this secondary of Notre Dame, led by Watts with his 6 picks on the season. So I think it's going to be a close affair, man. I think low-scoring game. I'd be surprised if it's high-scoring. And that Notre Dame defense, if they can flex as they did last week, they shut off the edges. They showcased some speed. They were physical. They were aggressive. Al Golden's bunch, man, they came after Georgia from the first play on. And it might take all 3 phases again. I'm going to give Notre Dame the slight edge just because of how well that defense played, even with guys being hurt. They lost a starter. We'll see how well Cross recovers from being dinged last week on that D-line, but I'm going Irish, slight favorite.
Brian, that's kind of what I'm doing too. Maybe I'm putting too much faith in them after what they did to Georgia, but to see them block and tackle that way against Georgia, they're so sound. And I know they can't guarantee me a 98-yard play in every game, but it feels like Notre Dame is going to have an explosive moment that can really change a game. Technically, I guess against Georgia, they kind of had 2, that turnover that led to the touchdown. And then once that return happened, to me, it was done at that point.
Yeah.
They just feel like that kind of team that they'll find those plays.
Both are pretty good in the turnover margin area. Penn State is about 12 plus 10. Notre Dame, and they're one of the tops. I think they're almost plus 20 in that category. They're right there with Texas as being tops in the nation. I look at, Notre Dame, they're just a simple old school football team. There's nothing really sexy about that offense. It's going to come down to Riley Leonard once again. He passed, 80 yards? They had less than 250 yards of total offense. And they won a damn playoff game versus the perennial title winner in college football. Unfreaking real.
And that's not giving you pause to go the other direction with a pick.
I know. I mean, that was amazing. But since that loss to NIU, dude, they've just been outstanding. They've taken care of business, and as I mentioned, Faison coming back gives them a little bit more electricity to that offense with his speed. But it's going to come down to their defense. Penn State. We'll see how well Carter is coming off his arm injury at the defensive end spot or the edge rusher. That other guy, 33. I always forget his damn name, but he is legit. Danny something. He got one of those hyphenated names. But 33, the other edge guy for Penn State is pretty good. I like their safety number one, Jalen something. Hell, I don't know. My season's over. I don't have to know the names anymore.
Jalen Reed.
Thank you, Jalen Reed. Thank you. Yes. See, it's great having a research team.
And then
who's 33?
30?
Danny.
You talking about Danny Dennis Sutton?
Yes, Danny Dennis Sutton, DDS. You better look out for DDS. He can get on that ass. I'm telling you, he can hunt. The boy is good. So that's how I see that one playing. I think it's going to be a fun football game. I think it's going to be interesting, but it might be one where us defensive guys really enjoy the action more so than those who like a lot of scoring.
Chad, your turn.
Oh, it was actually your turn.
That radio silence, that
back, forth.
Yeah.
I will take it. All right, Brian. So in terms of Texas and Ohio State.
Well, hold on. Did you ask a Penn State Notre Dame question and I just zoned you out?
Yeah.
Yes,
I gave my thoughts on Notre Dame and then Brian was talking about it. And
Oh, I just thought that was one long ramble.
Us out. Why you zoned us out?
Well, because David Ornstein reported something on Liverpool in the last, and it just distracted me.
All right. Just admit
that other football got his attention.
You see what happened? Right. Soccer distracted him and he tried to make it my fault.
No. I thought it was your turn.
Fair enough.
If it's my turn, I'd go Texas and Ohio State now.
That's what I assumed was about to happen.
And if I say, Brian, neither of these teams scores 20 points
tomorrow
night, am I crazy? I'm seeing Ravens Steelers circa 2005.
I'm seeing Texas USC 2006 title game. I'm seeing Texas Houston 1990 game. I'm seeing because who's been disrespected here? All the talk, which I understand, and Longhorns, don't let the odds rattle you. I get it. Considering how you played a week ago, 53 yards on the ground, your quarterback running for his life, your quarterback throwing into double coverage. Other than that, you played a pretty good ball game. Your defense handling Scatterboo at times, but then not handling Scatterboo. He gets a chunk of yards throughout that ball game. And you have Ohio State on the flip that has looked so clean, pretty much perfect in their two ball games. That other UT, they just thrashed Oregon in the rematch. Somebody please tell me why they didn't recognize Jeremiah was on their corner. I mean, I grew up in the hood. You know who on the corner. Mama, there's a strange man on the corner over there. Somebody needs to be vigilant. They play as though Jeremiah Smith was me running out there, man. I ain't sitting up. You got to double that dude. You got to roll coverage. You got to bracket him. Give him a little bit more respect and attention. I think Texas will. And here's why I make that comparison between Texas SC 06 title game. Just as with that ball game, you look at SC, hey, they won 2 straight. These guys, bad to the bone, back-to-back Heisman guys, they're clicking. They have a ton of speed. And as I said way back then to Jason Sehorn and anybody that would listen, y'all going to be surprised with the amount of athleticism and speed that's on this Texas team. If that O-line for Texas holds up, I think Ohio State was get a good dose of their own medicine with that receiving core Texas brings to bear. But it's going to come down to those trenches as it always does, and the way that front line, that front seven for Ohio State's playing right now, man, they look phenomenal. They are formidable. And kudos to Jim Knowles and that Silver Bullet bunch. But Texas, if they can hold up, and I think they'll come out and they'll show up and they'll play their best game because no one is predicting them to have a shot in this ball game. And I'll end with this. I was thinking about my pregame speech for this one, boys, and I'm going to borrow from Rush Hour. Chris Tucker. I ain't no punk bitch. So that's all Sark need to go in that locker room and say, y'all some punk bitches or not? You remember that scene at the food truck with the Chinese guy?
I was wondering where we were going, which line was going to be quoted, and I'm
probably thinking I was going to go cig a weed or something, huh?
I didn't know. There's like 100 lines from that movie.
There are. I was thinking, I was like, they think Texas some punk bitches. No, baby. And you got pretty much a home field advantage. Give that crowd something to cheer for, and they will be rocking. But I think Texas shows up and proves, we got some bad mofos on our sideline too.
All right. Brian sounds like he's picking Texas. So, Brian, first off, it'd be great if they let you talk to a team and all you did is walk in and say those few words and walk back out. That would be awesome. If this
drop the mic.
Boom, done. But secondly, just so we're clear, when you said Texas USC, I think Ketch and I both thought you were making a comparison in score. Yeah. Do you foresee a 41-38 kind of game, or are you just talking about the lead up?
I'm talking about the lead up, but I can foresee more than 20 points on both sides. I mean, you got athletes to burn, and you're going to put people in conflict, and they're going to make mistakes. Hopefully, their side makes more mistakes than our side, but things transpire, and I just can't see, unless they clock Will Howard in the same manner in which Michigan did, and he starts throwing the ball to the wrong color jersey as he did in that one, if that occurs, all bets are off. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. But I think it's going to come down. This defense, I've said it all season, man. I don't have a lot of faith in the interior D-line. 95, I didn't hear his name one time last week. That's a shame. Alfred Collins, I didn't hear your name, homeboy. In a game of that magnitude, I should see you, especially if you're trying to get to that next level. Those guys, 99, 95, 99, 15, they got to ball out, and they haven't consistently all season in my estimation. But somehow Texas finds a way to rise up as they did in another goal line stand in this ball game. They did it in the Aggie ball game. We've seen it in other games as well, where they find a way to rise up once you get into that red zone. So I think they're going to have their hands full with Henderson and also Judkins, man. This is a hell of a running team, not to mention Egbuka and the aforementioned Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Maybe a PSA to the fourth team that might get a 4th and short against Texas. Just maybe try something other than running up the middle. Like 3 teams have tried it. Didn't work. Anyway. So, Brian, to your point about the defense, let's stay on that side. It's your side of the ball. You know it very well. It's a game where Ohio State is starting the center and left tackle they don't want to. They wish it was 2 other guys. Give me a defensive mindset for Texas. If you know that going in, if you are game planning and it's a different center and it's a tackle that's had to slide out, what are your keys going into the game? How do you exploit that?
Well, you have to keep them in 3rd and long. Texas has the ideal edge rushers as well. The Simmons kid. You've got Moore. You've got Broughton, who plays well, whether he's outside or inside. He's still a little light to be that full-time defensive tackle inside, But they have enough guys. Who's 91 Burke? They've got enough guys to get to the quarterback against this offensive line. But that being said, kudos to Ohio State. Man, they've dealt with attrition on that O-line for a minute. Pretty much dang near, it seems like all season long. And just when you count them out, as we did going into that Penn State game on the road, they step up and they were smashing folks. They did the same thing versus Indiana, and they're formidable edge guys, Kamara and others. So just when you think, all right, there's there's a ray of hope going up against this makeshift O-line. They have played well, man. And so, but you got to get them in third and long. If you can get them in third and long. And speaking of third and long, I think the turning point for this O-line and for this team, and it was versus Indiana, because I believe they were down at this point. They have a 3rd and 25 or 3rd and 35, it may have been. They picked up 15 on third down. They went for it on fourth down, and they picked that up 20, 25 more yards, and it was over by then. So you got to keep them in those third and long. I like Texas's secondary. I really do. Yeah, Jeremiah Smith he's a handle, a lot to handle. But I like this secondary. They play with a lot of confidence. They bring the funk. And so if you can get them in those positions consistently, Texas has a damn good shot.
Brian, last question from me. I just saw the news that in the last half hour, Carson Beck has entered the portal. He's not going to go pro. And that Pete Thamel's already reporting that Miami will be the favorite to land Carson Beck. Is impossible not to think about the conversation that has been centered around Quinn Ewers in the last couple of weeks. If Quinn Ewers came to you and said, Brian, what do you think I should do? What's, in your estimation, the right move?
Career-wise, play another season. There's still some things to work on. There's a lot to love, but there's a lot to not like as well. And there's an inconsistency. There's the availability, missing games each of the 3 years he's been here at Texas. So that's a big sticking point and will be a big sticking point for schools. But I would say return. But if I'm able to get a grade that I like that says, hey, you got a first round grade, and considering the class of quarterbacks this season, I think it's Cam Ward, it's Shedeur Sanders. We'll see what happens with Drew Aller. I think there's rumors he's coming back, so don't have him in the mix. But there's not you don't have as many heralded signal callers in this draft as you've had in the past. So my suggestion would be come back. Remember, he sat out. He came out. He didn't play a senior year of high school. He goes to Ohio State.
Your advice would be to come back to Texas or come back to college football?
Come back to college football.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, where do you think where do you have a destination in mind, Brian?
No, I have no destination. I've heard rumors, and it's like NASCAR. It's silly season, dude. Especially with this portal stuff, man. And I'm hearing, he's going to go to Oregon, and they've done well with these quarterbacks that have stuck around for 5, 6, 7 years. So maybe that's an option. I don't know. Whoever has the biggest bag, I think that's going to be that possibly could be the winner. You got to have a good program as well. But so I don't know where he's going to end up. I just hope he ends up playing his ass off tomorrow.
There you go. Brian, there was a super chat that came in directed at you. It says, it's from the Google Scholar. BJ, Chad didn't know who Frankie Beverly was, and I blame you. I do not remember this.
How you played Frankie Beverly and Mays? That's all right. You got to know that he knows who some Danzig is.
I do know who Danzig is, yes.
That's my man. We used to jam that Danzig.
That's it. Who's Frankie Beverly?
Frankie Beverly and Mays.
And Mays.
Okay. Little old school group back in the day, like Temptations and OJ's.
Oh, that goes back to the Philadelphia conversation. Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Google Scholar, thank you. What a good.
Y'all were going down Philadelphia musicians.
I guess. That was a while ago.
Teddy Pendergrass. Let's see.
Hall of Notes is from Philly.
Bell Bill DeVoe, all those guys. I think New Edition. Other ones. Boys to Men. To Men.
Yeah,
Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. Schoolie D.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we
were having Gucci. It's about that time.
We were obviously having a musical discussion. I think Ketch brought that name up, and I didn't know it, and he couldn't believe I didn't know it. So for some reason,
Philadelphia used to have an Arena League team named the Philadelphia Soul because of the music from the 70s.
Because of the Philadelphia sound, man.
So they're blaming you, Brian. They're blaming you. We worked together back in the day, and they're blaming you that I don't know.
Listen, there's only so much Black history you can pack into a daily show with Chad over 3 or 4 years. I tried to get it all in, but man, you start with maybe Frederick Douglass and Paul Robeson and Harriet Tubman going way back. Started with the Underground Railroad. Then they banned that book, so I had to find another book. We're gonna get there one day, Chad.
Yeah, I thought. You know what, Brian? We will get there. We shall overcome my ignorance.
We're gonna get to the promised land. Yes,
it will happen. That's right. I will get there with you. I will get there with you. All right, Brian. So it sounds like you're predicting a Texas Notre Dame championship game. That would be really
I didn't say that.
Wait a minute. I thought you did.
I didn't say that.
No? Okay.
I just told you what needed to happen.
Oh, what needed to happen. Then
I told you what my pregame speech would be.
Okay, then give us your official prediction for the championship game. Is it Texas and somebody, or is it 2 frighteningly boring helmets?
You think the gold helmet and the prison helmet are boring?
I mean, look at it.
Don't get him started.
There's nothing. What are we doing? Put something on your helmet. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember as a kid.
Some people call that classic, Chad.
Yeah. It's lazy.
I remember when Penn State and Alabama would play every year. And that was the what was the movie? Got the Mean Green and all, not Mean Green, but the Mean Machine with Burt Reynolds, the original.
The Longest Yard.
Longest Yard, yeah, the original. Yeah. That was the Longest Yard game. Come
on, Brian. Get on the record.
Texas in an upset. Texas versus Notre Dame.
There you go. There you go. That way we can have the Randy Kinder replay for like 10 days. That would be great. Come on now. Catch, you said you're good? You know anything else for Brian?
Just happy New Year. Good to see you again.
Brian, we appreciate it. Do we have a shot at talking to you before the championship game? Do we have a shot?
New Year to you as well, Catch. And yeah, next week?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Championship game is a week from Monday, right?
It's on the 20th.
Yeah,
right. I got to tell you, Brian, I love this expanded playoff for a lot of reasons, but I don't ever remember you returning any of my communications on like January 9th or 15th or 12th. Like normally, we're I guess maybe before in the championship game you come on, but generally, you've right. Forgotten about me about this time.
Because you like me, Chad.
Oh, Grossberger might be on to something.
BJ, I noticed clean haircut today. You just went to the barber. You look.
I'm heading now. I'm heading now at 3:00.
I don't think you did. I think you look good.
Well,
yeah, Catch. You came in last week, nice, and it was much shorter last week than it had been.
Wait, hold on, Chad. Okay. What time you done with the show? What time can I come over? Since I look good.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I mean, I'm gonna have to wake my wife up out of bed, but
No. We ain't got to wake nobody. I won't scream if you don't holler.
I really am Grossberger. It's turned into a prison movie.
Oh my God. Brian, enjoy the games, and we will talk to you next week, sir.
Hook 'em, by God.
Brian Jones, everybody. It's Brian Jones, CBS Sports, in case you don't know. Old number 60, the last man to wear 60 for an entire season. All right, we do have some super chats that we need to clean off. Let's get to Cody's super chat here, Catch. He's taking us down the wrestling path, and I love that. $2. Chad, is Roman Reigns top 5 all-time? I don't get it. Cody, the short answer is no. And I don't quite get it, but I can explain it to you briefly. Before I do that, Catch, would you agree with me? Roman Reigns not top 5?
I mean, yeah, easily. No offense to Roman, but that would never cross my mind.
Yeah. Cody, here's what it is. I'm not doing this to insult Roman Reigns at any point. I'm just trying to lay the context out. Roman Reigns is one of the greats post-Attitude Era. Things changed in wrestling after that era. When you get into John Cena and past that, it just changes a little bit. The scheduling changed a little bit. You didn't have 300 days a year kind of guys, but you also have what I call smash champions, guys that don't do that much in a match, but they make up for it with some pretty good mic skills or the connection with the crowd. Over the years, Roman has figured out a connection with the crowd that is pretty unique, and he does a lot with that. He has an incredible talent for holding a crowd, controlling a crowd, and doing all that. In terms of the actual matches, no, he's not anywhere close to top 5. But when you add it all together, the attention he gets, the crowds, the social media era, all that stuff, that's what pushes him up towards the top for a lot of people's lists. But he would not be in my top 5. No, he would not.
I mean, think about who you have to drop.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't do it. You can't do it. He'll sit in an interview and tell you straight to your face he thinks he's the greatest of all time because that's what he's supposed to do, but no. So I get that you don't get it, Cody, and I would understand that. All right, Oscar jumped in with a $4.99. Buy or sell, Sark's pep talk to Auburn was stupid coaching, and Ali Larder is hotter than Demi Moore straight up. Okay, what does straight up mean?
It means like no prime on prime.
Today.
I think he's asking Ali Larder today hotter than Demi Moore today.
To me, that's got to be a buy. And I haven't seen Ali Larder lately. Got to be a buy because Demi's looking pretty darn good, but Demi went through a rough patch for me in terms of the plastic.
Here's the thing. Media has allowed us to see both of these women naked in the last month.
Interesting. Okay.
Advantage Demi.
Okay. All right.
Not face, not. And we're talking about I just told you earlier, I think Ali Larder this may be her prime. She may be one of the rare women. I shouldn't say that. Duh. She has evolved into a smoke show as a cougar that is really as unparalleled as sexy as Ali Larder was young.
Mm-hmm.
She, as a grown-ass woman in her cougar stage, is out of control hot.
That's awesome.
But I saw Demi Moore naked a lot in the substance.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked amazing. Amazing.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Demi.
Yeah. And to that first one, I would say sell that the pep talk was stupid coaching. How is talking to your kicker before a kick stupid? Like, I wouldn't consider that stupid. Just because Nick Saban tells you he didn't talk to a kicker catch, he knows Auburn better than I know Auburn, and he thought talking to Burt was going to be the right thing to do. I can't call that stupid. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, it can backfire and not work, but yeah, I'm gonna say not stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Oscar, for that one. Our man Barb's 10 jumping in with a $5. Catch is right. Jerry was actually pretty good. Billy Bob legit looked shook. Buy or sell, Jerry's a better actor than a GM. Oh, here we go. There's the moment nobody's put in a super chat yet.
I mean, it's a buy.
Barb's 10 just did it. Catch says it's a buy. That is sad. I haven't even seen the performance and I know it's a buy, and that's really sad. And Chris just adds in for $2. Catch is spot on. Landman is greatness. A lot of good reviews for Landman coming in the last week or so. And I remember Brian last week when you weren't here, Catch. He said that was his new thing too. So he was getting ready to do it. And you know what? Big Cheddar pointing out something I was thinking of. Yeah, Mac was the kick whisperer. He talked to him all the time, and it was great success. You never know. You never know. I don't know. And I'm sure Bert Auburn wouldn't tell us, you know what happened? Sark freaked me out. What? What do you mean? Well, Sark told me to hit it, and that freaked me out. Well, huh? What do you mean? Like, y'all got to figure that out. If that's what it was. I don't think that is probably true. All right. Before we wrap things up, a couple other of our great partners we want to thank here. First off, let me give you an idea. If you're looking to go somewhere, have a great time, have some great drinks, have some great food, how about the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room? Don't worry. They got some inside seating for you. That's usually where I end up. They have added some outdoor seating since I started going out there, but The inside is so cool. You get to have some great cocktails if you want. You can do a tasting if you want. And I'm telling you, the Crimson Creek Smokehouse Barbecue, good enough by itself for me to send you out to Dripping Springs, but you get the vodka too. It's a great deal. Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. We're talking to you on a Thursday. They're already open, ready to roll. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 7. Sunday, 12 to 5. Make your plans to hit the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. One of these days, we just might get the show out to the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. You never know. All right, Catch, before we get out of here, is there anything else we need to hit game-wise, notes-wise? We're going into Penn State, Notre Dame tonight. We'll have one more show before Texas and Ohio State.
I'm good. It was a good 2-hour show. Yesterday was a banger as well. Let's go.
Thank you all for liking and subscribing and getting those notifications. Let's get you that reminder one more time about TCH Social. First off, if you are an online poker player, go to hijackpoker.com. Cat's probably going to do it right when the show's over, right after he finishes the episode of Landman.
I got 3 minutes, Chad.
Yeah. In 3 minutes of Landman, then he's going to Hijack Poker. Get it on any device you want. Put the app on there, and then be sure to use OB20 as your code. It gets you $20 in free play, and that is valid through the end of the month. So check that out, and then make sure you come check us out tomorrow night, Mr. Ewers, Mr. Howard, for a spot in the championship game. 5:30, those drink specials start for a 6:30 kick. $1 draft, $2 jellyfish. We will watch on this big, beautiful screen. That's 16x1 in the middle. Yeah, that's where Texas and Ohio State will be. Come try the bad beat bacon or the salmon or any of the other great stuff. The burgers, the chicken sandwiches, the chicken tenders. Catch talked about them the first time we discussed TCH Social Austin, and they are legit. If you're just into a good old basic chicken tender, these are really, really good. You won't be disappointed. $1 draft, $2 jellyfish starts at 5:30. So come on out and see us. Can't wait. It's been a great watch party experience throughout the year. And just for this game, a little bit of a special ingredient. We're going to add a pregame show for you. We'll jump on at 6 o'clock, just kind of, 6 to 6:25 or 6:20. Plus, you know how they do with these games. They're going to come on at 6:30 with some sponsored pregame, and they're going to babble and catch. They might not kick till 6:45. So we're going to come on, give you about a half hour or so of a little pregame, set you up for the game, the very latest info that Orange Bloods is hearing, and then we'll get you the normal postgame after Texas.
Can I give you an A&M breaking news item?
A&M breaking news item. You know I want it.
In the form of a buy or sell question.
Okay.
There's a guy that writes for the Eagle.
Yes.
Who is reporting that Texas A&M officials are looking to add LED lights at Kyle Field that will have a color changing option according to a request for qualifications document. As an A&M fan, you think that's a bad idea. Y'all's atmosphere doesn't need to be changed, and you don't need to copy Texas.
I'm going to try not to get emotional here. Capital S sell. As with some other things with A&M, the timing is bad. It's not the right timing. Catch, I've been screaming about this for years. My dad and I have been talking about this for years. We went to Georgia and saw it in 2019 and said, this is what we need to do. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't there lights at Kyle Field? I saw Bama do it. I saw Green Bay do it. And I said to my dad at one point, Dadgum, we're going to wait so long, Texas might beat us to it. And then they did. But that's not what it should be about. It should be about what's right. It should be about what makes sense. And that makes sense. The cool LED light stuff is badass for all teams, any teams, and every team, including mine. A&M should. I'm so excited to hear it. I can't wait to now call my dad if he's not watching today's show and tell him that. It'll be the best news we both got today, Catch. I'm very excited to hear that the Aggies are getting the lights. They should have had them a long time ago.
Interesting social media response on this. I'll do it. You go down the rabbit hole later and look at some of this conversation. But
are my people reacting like they want to keep things the way it is and not get the lights?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I can't look at a sample of like 10 tweets and say that is this is what Aggies are saying. I'm saying I'm looking at the mentions of this guy's report. A Catherine says, "This is terrible news. I've gone to both night games against South Carolina, and it feels like a disco. Not a fan."
Wow. Okay. So catch.
Then there's more winning, less fluff, copying Big Brother. That obviously is not an A&M fan.
Yeah, see, that's why the timing was important. They should have done it when they should have done it. Now some will see it as, oh, they're just doing it because Texas did it. That may not even be the case, but now it looks like that's what they're doing. This has been around for years, and they just now got to it. And at one point, catch, the audio visual presentation at Kyle Field was better than DKR.
Hold on, I gotta read you these 3 tweets in a row.
And it may not be that way now, but this is going to confuse that.
In order, I have a quote. "I hate this. Kyle Field is already overstimulating enough as it is." Then someone tweeted, quote, "They want to be Tech so bad." And
all
then
right, come on. I'm all for the discussion of big brothers and little brothers. We can't go that far. Like, please calm down.
well, and then the tweet right underneath that says they just want to be like Auburn.
Auburn. Interesting. The Tech and Auburn. And to the defense of that comment, catch, Tech does have the lights and the drones, if I'm not mistaken. I think Tech does the drones just like Texas does, and the light stuff like Texas does. So, the Aggies will have to deal with the fact that they're doing it after those two, but they should absolutely do it. And the only other thing
I agree with you, Chad, just for the record.
Here's the only other thing I would say, catch, if you'll allow me one more snarky comment as an Aggie before we go. Here's what I'll say to those Aggies that don't want it. I will let you not put those lights in. Don't do a thing. If you'll promise me that in 2026, when Texas comes back, you care. You really care. Not third biggest crowd care, but you really care. Not 109, but like you break the record. And it feels like Texas is in town. And you start setting your tailgates up like before noon or before 1:30. If I can get that out of you, we won't have to worry about the lights. I think the lights might be necessary. All right, I'm done.
I'm glad you got that. I'm glad I asked that.
I'm done. I don't understand any thought of what I do not understand. Catch. They have people run out with flags right now, and fire shoots up from these boxes that they roll out. Is an Aggie fan really going to tell me, we just need to keep the tradition? The tradition of what? A Kanye song and fire shooting up? You have fire and smoke and a Kanye song blasting, and you're going to argue, this is old Army. I don't know what we're doing. I can't believe we get these lights like those T-Sips. Come on. All right, now I'm done.
And on that note, we're good to go.
Yeah, I thought I was done. Now it's a little more, just a little bit more. All right, thank y'all for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. We appreciate you. One more show before Texas and Ohio. We're going to pack it all into one day tomorrow. We're going to have the show, then a little pregame at 6, and then the watch party, and then the postgame. Busy Friday coming tomorrow. We'll have a Scottish guy for you before Texas and Ohio State as well during tomorrow's show. So until tomorrow at noon, we are, and by the way, Football with Friends tonight at 6. Anwar tomorrow morning with the old fashioned at 9.
Nope.
There. Yeah, that's no, sorry.
There is an old fashioned tomorrow.
No old fashioned. Programming note. This just in. No old fashioned tomorrow, but you do have a Football with Friends tonight at 6. No Football with Friends tomorrow evening at 6 because we'll get the little pregame show going because they don't, it's the game. Game's coming right up. They may join us. We may get a little Alex, may get a little Cody, who knows, but no Football with Friends tomorrow. So make sure you catch them tonight so you can get their latest thoughts on the game. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon right here on House Divided.